and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Diggie A2 podcast. We are still in the new golden era. This is episode 14. This is all about Mr. Shawn Corey Carter, aka Jay-Z. I want to start this one off with one of my favorite intros from Volume 1, where Pain in the Ass says, "Somebody pushed me close to the ground. I ain't panicked. I've been here before. Seems like only yesterday when I stepped in front of that stage and got in front of that crowd to show them who was who and what was what. Man, look at these suckers. I ain't no rapper. I'm a hustler. Just so happens I know how to rap. Okay, I'm reloaded. Let's do it, yo. Let's do it. Shout out to Jay-Z and everything he has done for hip-hop. I'm so amped up, ready to go. Jay-Z is one of my favorite hip-hop artists, period, on the planet Earth. And I have a couple of special guests going to help me coin this conversation. So first off, my first guest doesn't need an introduction, actually. This is record 14th appearance on our podcast, William James Boyd. So he don't need an intro. He's good. My special guest, though, is a queen of all queens. Her name is Miz Korona. Now, Miz Korona, if you all don't recognize her, I need you to do your hip-hop homework. I'm not even going to bring up who Miz Korona even is. I want you all to look up who she is, what she has done, what she has contributed to hip hop, and then you're gonna be like, oh shit, that's Miz Korona. So I'm not even gonna say who she is, but I'm gonna bring the both of them in, and without further ado, I'm gonna bring them in. Miz Korona, what's good? William James Boyd, what is good? Miz Korona, how are you, mama? You can go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, please.
What up, though? My name is Miz Korona, just like my man Rob said. And I was Corona before the virus hit, just so y'all know that. Ain't no trouble. But yeah, what up, though? Representing Detroit, holding it down. Jay-Z is one of my favorite MCs of all time. So I'm so happy to be here to talk about
Word. Miz Korona, is that before the beer too? Is that before the beer or no?
Oh, no, I ain't that old. No. Nope.
I was just checking. Shout out to you, Ma.
But it did come from the beer.
Oh, it stems from the beer.
Yeah. It stemmed from me freestyling and pointing at because the dude didn't think I was freestyling, and I pointed at the beer and said, "My lines intoxicate minds like Coronas." But I went by a totally different name before Miz Korona, but one of my mentors, rest in peace, Big Proof, he harassed me about changing my name for many, many years. And I finally did it like when I was 16.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's what's up. I'm just kidding, right? I got love for you. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, I tell people all the time, my parents was drunk off Corona. That's why they named me that.
Reminds me of a Biggie verse.
That's what's up. And for the record-setting 14th appearance on the Diggie A2 podcast, we have William James Boyd live and direct. Will, talk to the folks, man. What's happening with you, big bro? What's good with you?
What up, though? Got a fellow Detroit alum up in here, Miz Korona. Glad that you're here. I'm glad to be here. And I'm just humbled and blessed to be here hanging out with my man, Rob. My brother, Rob. So without further ado, Let's do it, man. We got Detroit Hockey Town in the building, but we are here to talk about Shawn Corey Carter from Brooklyn, Marcy Projects, New York City. And I have some facts I want to get out first before we get into the discussion. You already know how this goes. One of the things that I recognize, you guys, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, I'm sure you do as hip hop heads, but Jay-Z is the most decorated MC in the history of hip hop with over 250 awards. So no, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to read all 250 awards that this man has in his trophy case. We'll be here all damn night. I don't have that kind of time. However, some of the biggest things that I do have, he has 23 Grammys, the most of any MC of all time. He is in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He is going to be inducted into the 2021 class of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So shout out to Jay-Z, first ballot Hall of Famer, going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He is the first hip hop billionaire as well, too. So let's give Jay-Z props on being a hustler and recognizing that he had a hustler spirit before he was a rapper and just blossomed into making money. So let's get all that out of the way first. However,
For this particular time period of 95 to 99, Jay-Z dropped 4 albums. The first one is Reasonable Doubt, released in June of 1996, which is considered by most the best piece of hip-hop art ever recorded on wax. Considered. So I won't say that's my opinion, but a lot of people do feel that way. So I definitely want to give them props. 5 mics from the Source magazine. It was 4 at first. It got reloaded or upgraded to 5 mics. And I'm going to have a conversation with Will and Miz Korona about that, because I think there is a particular reason for that, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. You all know the hits from Reasonable Doubt. I don't have to read the track list. We know Can't Knock the Hustle, Politics as Usual, Brooklyn's Finest with him and Big going back and forth. Debt Presidents, Feeling It, 22 Twos, Can I Live, Friend or Foe, Ain't No Nigga, Bring It On, and Regrets. The whole album is a classic for a reason. So we won't even get into that, what that is. And then we had Volume 1, released in 1997. The intro, which is what I just recited from the beginning, with Rom No More, Imaginary Players, Streets is Watching, Who You With Part 2, Face Off with Sauce Money, Where I'm From, and then Friend of Foe of 98. That was 4 mics from the Source, 1-time platinum. And then in 1998, which was the height of Jay-Z's career, is when he launched Volume 2, Hard Knock Life, which was 4.5 mics from the Source, 5 times platinum. His most successful album to date is Hard Knock Life. You already know about Hard Knock Life, Nigga What, Nigga Who, Money Cash Hoes with the late great DMX. A week ago with Too Short, Can I Get Her with Emil and Ja Rule, Reservoir Dogs, one of my favorite joints on there, like that with DJ Clue, and It's Alright. And then in 1999, in December, he released Volume 3, and that release got 4 mics from the Source, 3 times platinums. You all know the hits: Hova Song, The Beginning, So Ghetto, Do It Again, Big Pimpin', Is That Your Chick, Come and Get Me, NYMP, and Watch Me featuring Dr. Dre. So that is the premise for our conversation for Mr. Shawn Corey Carter. And the first question that I have for the lady of the group this evening is, what does Jay-Z, Miss Korona, mean to hip-hop?
I mean, you already said it. Look at it. First of all, I feel like, oh man, the history that he has, you know what I mean? Like coming out, like he was an underdog, you know what I mean? Like people looked at him like Jazzo's little brother. You know, they little brothered him for a minute. You know, took him a long time to get a deal. You know, he had to create his own lane for the labels to start paying attention. And then dropping your first album and people was like, eh. And then folks had to go back and listen like, yo, nah, this is a masterpiece right here. Like, how did we really sleep on that? It just, I mean, his career is just a manifestation of like a lot of the things that he talked about. You know what I mean? He said long time ago that he was going to be one of the richest in the game. Like, you know, even pricing his singles way above what people really thought was like, you know, like, okay, yours 99 cents, mine was $4. This is like, come on. And I think that's why he respected Nipsey Hussle when he dropped that mixtape. And Nipsey was like, yo, I'm dropping this mixtape for $100. You know what I mean? And some folks like $100. But Jay like, yo, man, you got to believe in yourself in a way that nobody else like can. And the vision that he saw for himself, anybody who was a naysayer, he X'd them out and got out, you know, got him out of there. And now look at him. Look at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. I completely 110% agree. That's why I'm gonna pass the mic over to Boyd with this, because when I was one of those, right? When Reasonable Doubt came out, and I only knew about it, Reasonable Doubt, because of my brother. Shout out to Matt that actually introduced me to Reasonable Doubt when it dropped in 96. I was like, that's all right. It's got a couple of cool hits, whatever. I didn't really think it was the masterpiece that we actually had as opposed to Illmatic. And a lot of people compare Reasonable Doubt to Illmatic. When Illmatic dropped, we knew. The hip-hop world knew we had a classic. Reasonable Doubt, it took us maybe 5 years, maybe till when he got to Blueprint 1, the first Blueprint, we were like, oh shit, like we got to go back and do our homework on this cat. Like he just dropped a classic album, but we don't remember about Reasonable Doubt. Which brings us to my point to you, Will. When was the first time you heard Jay-Z and were like, okay, this is something different? I've never heard nothing like this before. When did he actually grab you as a wow factor? What was the wow factor for you for Jay-Z when you first heard him?
I'm going to preface it with this. I gave you prophecy on my first joint, and y'all all laid out. Didn't really appreciate it till the second one came out. So I stretched the game out, X your name out, put Jigger on top, and drop albums nonstop for you. So that having been said, Mark Harris, when we were at 203rd,
Word.
he was singing Jay-Z's praises up and down, and I was like, he ain't no X, he ain't no Biggie. So, so what happened was one day he was playing Can't Knock the Hustle. And I was like, who was that with Mary J? He's like, that's Jay-Z, fool. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I was taken aback, and I was like, his flow, the way it ran, like that first verse was mad staccato, and you know what I'm saying? And he was spitting it, just going at it. And the second verse, you know what I'm saying, he kind of smoothed it out and then just, furthered the story. And I was like impressed. I was like, I really like the way this is going. And I believe it was you, but I've heard several people say it, but that first album was very cinematic.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my first exposure. My first exposure, because even after I heard You Can't Knock the Hustle, it was the next album. You know what I'm saying? Because I heard The City Is Mine.
Right.
And so I got into that one. And then I got into Brooklyn's Finest, and I'm like, okay. And I had to go back. To Reasonable Doubt. And Can I Live, either Can I Live or Friend or Foe. Those are probably two of my favorites, the two of my highlights off the first one, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Along with Can't Knock the Hustle. But that entire album, just like with Nas's Illmatic, just push play. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to get too deep on this because albums should be like that instead of, little piecemeal parts. You know what I'm saying? This is for everybody else and the rest is filler. But that album was put together with such foresight, thought, and just heart. And like Jay-Z said, man, he just knew we had to catch up to him. Mm-hmm. We had to catch up to him.
I completely agree. The first time I'd heard Jay was Volume 1. So I was a little bit late in the game. I love the Imaginary Player, but he was like, yo, what's the difference between the 4.0 and the 4.6? And he's like, 30, 40 grand, I could beat it. You know what I mean? And like damn, okay, well, what is that? And like, you know what I mean? So for those of you that don't know what that is, that's Range Rover. So let's get that out. But it's like the cleverness, the wittiness, the hustle, and you hear all of that in Jay-Z's rhyme. So I'm gonna pass it back to Miz Korona on this. And when we talk about Jay-Z and his wittiness in his rhyme, Miz Korona, what impresses you about Jay-Z and his ability to rap? It's basic function, right? But Jay-Z doesn't make it basic at all. Like he makes you rewind the tape or flip the track back to go back. Okay, what the hell did he just say? Like, what impresses you about Jay-Z's lyricism?
I mean, the wordplay is you can't. No pun intended. You can't knock that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the wordplay is top tier. It's like wow, the double and triple entendres that he uses. But then he also, like, that was the first time I ever really heard an artist use that level of skill and wasn't rapping at you. He was just like having conversation. He was kicking game to you, and I was just like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
But me personally, I'm gonna go back to the Reasonable Doubt. When I first heard Reasonable Doubt, it was like a breath of fresh air to me because that was a style that I was like, even as a younger individual, that was like how I kind of rhymed.
Right.
And people used to say that folks wouldn't understand me. Like, oh, you got to think about what the things that you say. I'm like, you ain't catch that metaphor. And so that was like when him and Biggie dropped and they was using the double entendre style. Mm-hmm. I was like, yes, this is what I've been doing. So, I mean, his style is just, it's impeccable to me, honestly. I.
Yeah.
Like even the videography that he did, like cinematography style.
Yeah.
You know, the visuals play into the albums, what made me just like be drawn even deeper in. You know what I mean? Because now I'm looking at this like wow. I mean, he used one of my favorite movies, you know, Usual Suspect.
Ooh,
visual. And I was like, what? And most of
City is Mine.
The City is Mine. Most of my homies around me, they wasn't into those type of films. They wasn't into that type of music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm just looking at them like, y'all don't get it? This is the usual stuff. Like, no, this video whack. He weird. I'm like, okay. You know, but my cousins wanted to be dope dealing niggas. And I'm like, he talking about all of that in a way that y'all can't. It's just, you know, genius to me.
Yeah, you know, one of my favorite bars from Jay, he was like, without rap, I was crazy straight pot, and I'm still spending money from 88. What? He was so
presidents to represent me.
Yeah, I mean, he was a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z was truth be told, he was a drug dealer before he got, you know, rapping and everything. So he had that hustler's mentality. And it's like, yo, like he was already rich. Well, I won't say he was like as rich as what he is now, but he was well off before he even became a rapper, yo. Like people got to understand how much of a hustler spirit this man had. Just so happy he knew how to rap.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. Let me take that back from you.
Go ahead.
He was getting that street money, you know what I'm saying, in the midst of him being a rapper. Mm-hmm. Because when he was younger, he was touring with those older cats and jazz.
Yeah, Big Daddy Kane, no doubt.
Exactly. So he was like, yo, okay, the music ain't, I got to do the street hustle thing. But at the same time, he said that's what made him really start writing in his head, because he was so busy in the streets. He didn't have time to pick up the pen and pad no more. Yep. Like, I got to memorize this in my head. I'm like, man, he's the real life Rain Man. He's like
hip hop Rain Man. Let's add that to Jay-Z's title, right?
Yes.
Like, he's incredible, man. I'm passing the mic over to you, Will, about this. And as I'm thinking about Miss Korona talking about Jay, I'm thinking about his albums during the time period of what we're talking about, the new golden era. In the new golden era, there was so much talent going around during that time. But my questions, my good sir, is when it comes to his 4 albums during that time period, which one do you pick out, and which one do you pick out, and which one are you like, I don't know about that one. Maybe he could have redesigned it or remix it or did something with it. So what was your favorite one? What was the one you were like, nah, I really wasn't feeling during that time period?
Now,
so out of Reasonable Doubt, 1 through 3. Right.
I'm gonna put them in order because a lot of cats might not necessarily feel me, but Volume 3 doesn't get the love that it should. It's almost one of the forgotten ones. Him doing that joint with Primo reminded me. Let me see. So Ghetto.
Yeah.
It reminded me of him back in the Reasonable Doubt days. You know what I'm saying? When he had, you know, Clark Kent, you know what I'm saying, and all that other production, you know what I'm saying? So it took me back, you know, to that point.
Right.
But if I have to put them in order, it's probably going to be, it's going to be Reasonable Doubt and Volume 3 as like 1 and 1A, and then Hard Knock Life, and then Volume 2. Now, I mean, and then Hard Knock Life, you know, which is Volume 2,
right,
and then Volume 1, you know, in my lifetime.
Right.
So, but putting them in that order in my lifetime is one of my favorite albums. You know what I'm saying? It just so happens that the other 3 I like better. So some days, like, I mean, dude, So Ghetto is on my freaking workout list. I'm not kidding you, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's I'm in the gym, you know what I'm saying? I'm so gangster, prissy chicks don't want to hump with me, you know what I'm saying? But it was just nasty, and it was almost like a I don't want to say he bit Nas, that wasn't what it is, but it's almost like a song you could see Nas doing. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the hook, and yeah, it was Primo. But Jay-Z was not only prolific. You literally, and I do miss the intros. I miss the pain in the ass intros, but I'll tell you what, it was so dense. It was dense. It was cinematic.
Yeah.
and there was a vision. There was a vision throughout each one. It kind of put me back in the mind of Heavy D because each album was sort of like a what's the adjective I'm looking for? It was like a project. You know what I'm saying? There was a definitive start, a definitive ending.
Yeah.
The way it was set up. You know, so I really dug the way he set those up. But those are my. In fact, I'm just going to put it out there. Volume 3, Reasonable Doubt, Volume 2, and then Volume 1.
Interesting take. I don't agree, but interesting take. And I used to be on the record for a long time saying that Reasonable Doubt was the best piece of hip hop artwork I've ever heard in my lifetime for a while. But
for me, the second.
And it's my second one now too. As I got older and I got more into lyrics and rhymes and schemes, and to pass over, and we'll talk about this later on, of course, hopefully down the road when we revisit Illmatic. Illmatic is just Illmatic. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, but I don't knock anybody that says Reasonable Doubt is the best piece of artwork, because it is. I mean, it's dope. It's tremendous. But here's my question, Miz Korona, and I want your take on this. So as Jay-Z was coming up in those, we'll say, 96, 97, we lost Pac and we lost Big. So what do you say to those people that say, you know what, Jay-Z only got famous because we don't have Big and Pac anymore? What do you say about that? What is your opinion about that?
Oh man, that's stupid. That's ignorance to me, because one, everybody got their own lane. They all had their own lane. You know what I mean? And I feel like he would have still been successful, regardless if they were here or not. Me personally, I believe in what the creator has designed. It's not even about what specific individuals will be here or not. It's like, what is the path for you? What did the creator, put you here to do? I mean, look at all the other artists, you know what I'm saying, that came after him that had tremendous success as well. But that longevity, that is like,
can't teach
consistency. I mean, even one of his worst albums was still good. Like better than the albums that came out in that time frame.
Right.
So I don't agree with that at all. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Tupac had his lane, Biggie had his lane, and Jay-Z was definitely on his way to carve his while they were here. And it just so happened that they had a untimely and unfortunate demise in the process. But it was nothing going to stop him from being the successful person that he knew he was here to be. I don't believe that it was anything or anybody that was going to stand in his way.
Yeah, and I would agree with you too. I take the same sentiments as well. I think Jay, first of all, Jay and Big were good friends, very good friends on each other's tracks. Used to battle back and forth. They had a very good relationship, and I think there would have been more collabs with Jay, because to me, Jay and Big lyrically, come on, man, it's equally. They're literally equaled out. I don't think there's one is better than the other. That's just my personal opinion. A lot of people don't agree with that, and that's okay. That's what hip hop is. It's for us to agree to disagree. But I think they're equally matched. I definitely have Jay-Z in my top 5 dead or alive for a reason, because of his lyrical ability. And to your point, Miz Korona, his consistency. Jay-Z does not make, or rarely, I won't say doesn't, because there's a few of them that I'm like, I don't know. It's rare. It's rare he makes a trash album. It's very, very rare. But in the 90s, those 4 albums are all phenomenal. I want to pass the mic over to Boyd for one more question before we start to get the last take. And Boyd, and that is the controversy, in my opinion, around the 5 mics given to Reasonable Doubt. And I'm going to say the controversy because when it first came out, to Miz Korona's point earlier, we didn't really listen to it until we went back in time and said, all right, let's go re-mic this up from 4 mics to 5 mics. And we're talking about the Source magazine. Those of you that are not familiar with the Source magazine, which is a hip hop Bible back in the 90s before we had internet, Instagram, all that good stuff. Let's get that out the way, right? So, but I think it's controversial because in 2002 is when the Source went back and remiked Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt from 4 mics to 5 mics. Do you think that is on purpose, or is it just one of those mistakes that the Source made that they wanted to correct a wrong, we'll say. So what is your opinion about that? I really want to hear what your take is on this. Did they get it right, you think, with 4 mics and just let him progress? Or is it actually a classic album that they said, well, Jay-Z is super successful now, let's go back and give him another 5 mic album just to save face?
Everything you just said is accurate. And I'm going to tell you why. The 4 mics that they gave it back then was good. It was accurate because they were sleeping. That's to be 100% honest.
Yeah.
They went back and gave it the 5 mics it deserved, that they knew eventually, like, oh, we miscalculated this one. Southern playalistic Cadillac music, anybody? But you get my point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, was it one of those political things? Yes. Oh man, Jay-Z's like successful, so maybe we should. It was everything you just said, and it's funny because, like, dipping back real quick as far as the lanes. I know Miz Korona said that Jay-Z carved out his own lane, and he did. Whenever people talk about if Biggie and Tupac were still alive, the only thing I will concede is this. Instead of, I love how Jay-Z on Kanye's remix of Diamonds Are Forever, he said, difficult takes a day, impossible takes a week. And it fits right into what I'm getting ready to say.
Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z still would have been a billionaire. He still would have made these hits. History might have been a little different. The albums might have been a little different. They may not have come out the same time, the same way, but he would have achieved that goal. Biggie and Pac, it wasn't like they were squeezing the lanes. They had, like Miz Korona said, everybody had their own lane. Unlike today, where everybody kind of sounds and looks alike. I'm not going there and move that to another subject. Anyway, the thing is, it's like Jay-Z would have still succeeded. He may not have made his billions, you know what I'm saying, or billion immediately, but think about it, dude. If my Uncle Rudy hadn't passed, if Sally Joe hadn't passed, you know what I'm saying? We can pontificate all day and say what if, but Jay-Z was going to be ... period. You know what I'm saying? There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know what I'm saying? And I know this is sacrilege, but of the three, you know, when you talk about Jay-Z, Biggie, and Tupac, hell, I'm gonna throw Nas in there too.
Yeah.
Talk about those 4 MCs. Lyrically, Tupac was the weakest one, but saying you're one of the weakest MCs in a group of 4 of the best MCs ever is not a slight.
Right.
Much like DMX, his passion, you know what I'm saying, was what shone through. But even still, Jay-Z wasn't like Biggie. Jay-Z wasn't like anybody.
Yeah.
No.
Him and Big meshed. They meshed so well. And I know neither one of them was lyrically, you know what I'm saying, or, you know, skill-wise better than the other. But I'll tell you what, Biggie got Jay on, I think Biggie got Jay on Brooklyn's Finest, and Jay got Biggie on Love the Dope. That's my personal thing.
I agree.
I completely 1,000% agree with that. I completely agree with that. And to answer your point, and I'll pass the mic to Miz Korona to close us out. My point being, with what you just said, Boyd, if you guys go back and listen to Volume 2, in the very beginning, Pain in the Ass says, I quit. I'm retiring. Ain't enough money to keep me around, to keep me in the game, to keep me around. So once Big passed, he had already transitioned in his mind, like, I'm going to retire. Like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Because, you know, he had lost the passion. And that's the very first thing you hear on Volume 2. And then lo and behold, you know, the rest of his career goes on. But it was early on when he was like, with the loss of Big, it was like, nah, man, like this, it's a big hole in rap. And I don't want to do this. He was contemplating retirement. Jay-Z was contemplating retirement, you all, in 1998. Do you all, I mean, just to think about that for a second, like, what would rap look like if Jay had retired in 98? It would be He
was going to Brett Favre the situation before Brett Favre did.
Exactly my point. So I just want to bring that into the context for the audience that is not familiar with Jay-Z. And I'm not going to say I'm a super fan, but I'm a big fan of Jay-Z. So I'm a huge fan of his work. And those albums in the 90s are timeless. And I'm going to pass the mic to Miz Korona to close us out for this particular episode. And Miz Korona, you have the last word. What are your last thoughts when it comes to Jay-Z and his impact, not only on hip hop, but on yourself?
Mm. Well, I wanna go back a little bit because when y'all talked about the connection that he and Biggie had lyrically it was a competitive edge, and I felt like it was iron sharpened iron. So that's why he felt like, damn, one of the people that I look up or look to as my most competition, out of everybody, he not here no more. You know what I mean? So that will knock the wind out of anybody. I just feel like what he's done for me as an MC, definitely, I'd be like, yo, man, I gotta step my lyrics up. You know what I'm saying? I gotta step my metaphors up and not even using, when you're younger, you kind of use stuff that's like, here's the metaphor, bam, slap you know it's coming. And now it's like you weaving it in there, you tucking it away. And I feel like he kind of, I won't say he created it, but I feel like he mastered it to a point where it was like nobody else can do. He's so slick with it. Like even on the new joint, the college joint, when he throwing up with all the bees and I'm like, what? Oh, they was mad at the other. Wait, here go the like, what? Come on, the dude he's a monster, and also, and me getting a chance to meet Freeway and build a slight relationship with him and hang out with him. I saw how that rubbed off, being part of the Rock rubbed off on him, and being around Jay-Z rubbed off on him, because I'm sitting there, me, him, and my brother Mo Dirty and a couple other individuals, my boy Clemmy, we riding around the city, and Free goes to the studio, and everything that we did that day, he went in the booth and he just rapped about it. And I'm like, this motherfucker ain't pick up no piece of paper. But that just goes to show that everybody that was around him in that circle looked to him because he was considered to be one of the best. Everybody wants to be the best. You know what I'm saying? If you're on that basketball court, you want to be better than Jordan. You want to be better than Kobe. You want to be better than LeBron. You don't want to be the next LeBron. You want to be better than them. Right. You know what I mean? But if I'm standing next to LeBron and LeBron is embracing me, I feel like that's good enough. You know what I'm saying? Right. I might not. The reality might be I might not never be better than LeBron, but he looking at me, he see me, we on the same court. This my man's. Okay, now I got to strive and go out here and I got to bang on his head though, but I know he gonna come for me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what everybody. It's the intimidation thing. And also, I'm gonna end it right here.
No,
also, I wanted to say, I really appreciated the consistency in the album cover artwork. Everybody was super colorful and doing the, flamboyant shit, and he was just black and white. Now, when he dropped the other joint, there was a little color in there, but he still rocked the black suit. And it was just like, man, like, I don't know. It's simplicity is the key. Yes. He's simplistic, but he still got a flamboyance about him. He's a little humble, but he's mighty arrogant. He's, you know what I'm saying? Like, he braggadocious, but he's still like, he'll pull it back and reel it back sometimes and be like, it's so many levels and layers. He's like a fucking onion, man. He's like the onion at the Outback. You know, you don't even know that you gonna like that shit, bro. But once you get a little taste of it and you keep peeling it back, you like, this is some flavorful fly shit.
And yeah. I don't think there's nothing left to be said, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to that. I think we have ended on a great note. Definitely one of my favorite episodes, and Jay-Z, one of my favorite artists. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about time to start wrapping things up, and how we have been doing throughout the last few weeks for season 3 is paying homage to the late, great George Floyd and to all the others that we have lost due to social injustice. So if you all could please join me in a 9-second moment of silence, and then we'll go into the shout out portion real quick.
Indeed.
Amen. Amen. Rest in peace, George Floyd, and rest in peace to all of the others that we have lost due to social injustice in the United States of America. So, with that being said, Miss Korona making her first appearance, but I got a feeling it won't be the last time we're going to see Miss Korona on the Diggy 82 platform. But the floor is yours, ma'am. Who are your shout outs going to this week, mama?
Yo, Rob, I got to shout you out. Thank you for having me on here, brother.
No, thank you.
You know, we just met recently, but I feel like, this relationship that we're building is going to last for a long time. Will, it's a pleasure to meet you. Your smile is infectious.
Thank you.
I need to shout out my crew. Fat Father, Jackie B, we got our podcast too, you know what I'm saying? Check us out. Follow me and then you can check us out. I'm not gonna, do all that. And then my DJ Los, my parents, I know they're gonna be watching it. They like my biggest fans, and they gonna when it's happening, Also, I gotta shout out my business partners, Madison and Juan from Triple Peaks Clothing. Follow us on Instagram, Triple Peaks Clothing. Cop some gear. Follow me on IG, hit me up, and all that. What up, though? Shout out to Detroit. I love y'all. Peace. Yeah, all that.
Word, mama. Detroit, stand up. James Boyd, 14 Indeed. Appearances on the Dig 82 platform. First off, brother, before you speak, I got to give praise to you and supporting your little brother, man, from day zero when this was ideas on paper and you were like, yo, Rob, I got you. I don't know where the hell this is going to go, but look where it brought us, little big bro. Look where it brought us. Look who we are talking to right now. Miss Korona, a hip-hop legend, we are talking to right now and talking about Jay-Z. Like, it's just incredible where we have started, man. So I could not have done it without you, man. So thank you for your love and support over the last 18 months. And we ain't slowing down, bro. We got more work to do. But the mic, the mic is yours, sir. Who your shout-outs going to, family?
My shout-outs are going to all the guests that have come over the last couple seasons. I want to give a shout out to, man, I almost last week.
Satisfy Raps. Word.
I want to give a shout out to Satisfy. I want to give a shout out to Be Wise. I want to give a shout out to, to Mrs. Dalby, the Queen. I want to give a shout out to Frank. I want to give a shout out to all our guests. I especially want to give a special shout out to Miss Korona, you know what I'm saying? Because look, I'm telling you, I love Hockey Town, Rock City. I love my state. So, and believe me, I'm representing. What up, though? So basically, I just want to give a shout to everybody who was on the show because in some shape, form, or fashion, they showed that they believed in the vision. And I'm telling you, your vision is far from myopic. In fact, it's the antithesis of myopic. My brother, one love.
Salute, my good dude. My shout outs are short, man. First off, shout out to Miss Korona. If you guys didn't know, I've been chasing Miss Korona for like months. So it's like almost like, well, we'll say borderline stalking, right? Well, we won't say stalking like for real, but like kind of borderline stalking. I'm like, Miss Korona, please, can you please come on this show? Like, people need to see
Hold on. Don't say it like it was conflict of schedules. You know what I'm saying?
Truth be told, conflict of schedules. Yes, that is fact. But
see, Miss Korona, that's less dramatic.
Yeah, that's not as dramatic as me chasing you, right? It's not the same thing. But yes, truth be told, conflict of scheduling. But Miss Korona, thank you so much for dropping your knowledge. And as I mentioned earlier, this will hopefully not the last time we see you on this platform, because your knowledge and your love for the culture needs to be more showcased on our platform. So you're welcome to come back anytime you want to. The floor is always open. You come back. No doubt. Shout out to my big brother William James, 14 appearances. I don't think nobody's going to beat that record. That record will hold up in the record books. And we got more work to do. We got 2 more seasons to do, family. So we're not done yet. We're going to take a pause a little bit. But I want to give a shout out to, as Will mentioned, all of our guests that have been on the show from the very beginning. It's a laundry list, and I can't remember all your names, so I won't do it by one. You all know who you are. Shout out to the Queen Jess, of course, the Queen behind me that does everything behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, on the side of the scenes, everything. This cannot be done without her love and support. So thank you, babe, for what you do, supporting us. And shout out to my kids, shout out to my grandkids, and shout out to Jay-Z. Shout out to what he's done for hip hop, and shout out to hip hop music, hip hop culture, and just what we have become from the 70s to what we are now in 2021 and going to keep rocking is awesome. And I'm glad to be a part of it. So that's all that we had this week. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, is our season finale. The season is coming to a close, and we're closing our season out with the NOTORIOUSBIG. Rest in peace to Biggie Smalls. We're going to be talking about him next week. So you guys be cool, be safe, stay humble, and stay hip hop. All right, y'all, see you next week. 100. Peace.